Hello and welcome. This is Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind the Country Chic Cottage. Today we're going to talk about making money with your Cricut machine. So maybe you're just getting started building a small business. Maybe you are looking to grow your small business. I think either way you will get something out of this video. This video is sponsored by Cricut. However, all projects and opinions are my own. Now, I have a lot of points to cover. You can take notes. I will divide this video up into small segments, and across the bottom bar right here on my video, you can kind of hover over those segments so you can rewatch a segment if you need to. In the description below, and you might have to click show more to see like the full description, you will find like more links that I mention, you will find more information, more places to go, that type of thing. Because this video would be hours long if I talked about everything that we need to talk about when it comes to making money with your Cricut. So we're going to try the short and condensed version. So first let's talk about getting started. The first thing I want to talk about when you're getting started making money with your Cricut is, please, before you start, consider if you want to sell things and make money with your Cricut. So I will start with a story. I started my journey in my business with a blog, but I very shortly opened an Etsy shop and I sold handmade goods, and I made the horrible mistake of catering to weddings with my Etsy shop. That meant I was making like 400 or 500 of one thing at a time. And just to be honest with you, I hated it. I hated the repetition and making things over and over again. So make sure that you love it. You love that process of making, that you love making things repeatedly if you need to. If not, consider something like small sales, like, you know, it's a special sale. I only have 15 of these. When they're gone, they're gone. You can consider something like that. But make sure you love that. And for the love, if you are going to start an Etsy shop that caters to weddings, make sure you like to make a lot of one thing. But just think about, like, do you want to? Do you have the time? Do you have the energy? Do you have the drive to start selling handmade goods? Because all of those things are going to be required. And you kind of want to think about that in the beginning. Do you want to dive into that? So most likely if you found this video, you've already determined that. Maybe I've given you a few more things to think about, but you're probably ready to jump in and get started. So what do you need to do now? The next thing I would say is make a plan. Where are you going to start selling? How are you going to start selling? What are you going to start selling? Write all these things down. So first of all, we need a plan of how we're going to launch this business that you're creating. So how are you going to sell? First of all, are you going to sell on Etsy? Are you just going to start small with friends? Are you going to just have a private Facebook group? Are you going to sell only on Instagram? Post your pictures on Instagram. You can start any of those ways, and when that way doesn't work for you or you outgrow that method, you can change. So I started, like I said, small Etsy shop selling wedding things. It didn't work for me. Now I do have a shop. It is on Shopify. I host it myself on my own website, and I sell all digital goods. So once I make a product, it goes on the website, and when someone buys that, it's auto delivered. So I don't have any of the shipping, any of the making things over and over again. It's a business model that myself, I love. But I did start down the wrong path, and that's okay. You can course correct later. So for right now, you just need to decide where you're going to start selling. I find that it's pretty good to start with something like a Facebook group, a Facebook page, an Instagram account. I think Etsy is a great place to start as well. There's also places like Amazon Handmade and quite a few other places that you can definitely start, but I feel like those are the big ones. The thing I will say about selling on Etsy or Amazon Handmade, either one, you get the benefit of their search engine. So if I was going to I wanted to find a certain shirt, I wanted to find this shirt, I might go to Etsy and type in these words, and it will pull up all the shirts that have those words on them, and I would pick from those shirts. So I might not necessarily know your shop and you, but I would find your shirt much more easily than if it was just in a Facebook group. So I will say that about actually starting a shop, it is a good move. All right, so now we've put some thought into where we're gonna sell. So what are we going to sell? That's the thing to think of next. So I would encourage you, no matter what the item is, to think about a way to put your stamp on it, your unique spin. Put a little bit of you into it. So whether that is a certain color palette, a certain style, just think about a way where it can be something that says you right from the bat. And then as you create more products to sell, they all become part of that collection, and someone can almost see that item and know that it's you. So we talked about this shirt a little bit. This is one of my favorite Etsy shops. This is Tisa. I'll link to that below if you want to get this shirt or see any of her other items. All of her items have the same color palette, rainbow color palette. They're all super colorful, super bright. I can see a picture just about anywhere or someone wearing a shirt and think that's one of Tisa's. Her style is that spot on. So if you can get to that point, I think you will do better in the marketplace. The marketplace is, it's saturated, right? There are tons of people out there trying to do this handmade sales thing. That is a way for you to set yourself apart from all them and become your own unique business. What are you gonna sell? So I'll drop some links below to like some basic tutorials for some things, but I would consider, just about anything you can make that is high quality, you love to make it, and you want to make it over and over again. So whether that is like shirts, signs, tumblers, mugs, coasters, earrings, blankets, wreaths, I could probably brainstorm all day, but I can think of a ton of the things on my website that I have tutorials for that would make great products to sell. And if you love to make them and you think that it will work for your business, I would just go for it. I think that I wouldn't consider the profit margin necessarily when you're considering what to sell straight out of the gate, because you'll get burnt out quickly making something over and over again that you don't like to make. Trust me, I know. So make sure you know that you like to make it, and then think about putting your spin on it, making it unique, and making it you, and that way you stand out within that market. So now you have an idea of what you want to sell. Where do you find the images to use, and how do you do that legally? So to use an image and put it on something for sale, you need a commercial license, bottom line. So you can do that a couple of different ways. So Cricut Design Space, you can use any other images, except for some of them, under the Angel policy. And what do I mean by that? So the Cricut Angel policy covers most of their images, and it means that you can use those for things for sale. However, it does not cover licensed characters. Disney characters, Star Wars characters, those type of characters do not fall under the Angel policy. Those are licensed characters, and they are not allowed to be put on products for sale, no matter where you find them. If you find an SVG on Etsy that has Mickey Mouse's likeness, shape, anything like that, they're trying to sell you a commercial license, but they're not allowed to. So watch out for licensed characters and trademarked names, logos, that type of thing. You want to stay away from that. You want to go with files that you know you can use legally, and those would be ones in Cricut Design Space that fall under that Angel policy, or look for SVG files where you can buy a commercial license. Stay away from all licensed characters. Now, I have a full blog post all about commercial licensing, finding the right thing, the legalities of it. I'm going to link to that in the description below. If you want more information, head there. That's sort of the cliff notes for you though. All right, so now you have something to sell. You have all these files, and now you have to make all this stuff. You have to put it on shirts. If we're going to sell shirts today, you have to put it on shirts. You have to take all the pictures. You don't have to do that. So what I would encourage you to do, yes, you need to make sure you know how to make the shirt or whatever it is. You need to know where you're going to purchase the shirt You need to know that you can make a quality shirt. You need to know that you're buying quality supplies to make that shirt. I would definitely make some shirts, test them, run them through your own laundry cycle dozens of times. Make sure that they are going to hold up to whatever your customer is going to put them through. But then you do not have to make samples for every variety of product that you want to sell. What I would encourage you to do is to look into doing mock-ups. Mock-ups are where there's a picture of a shirt, a blank shirt. You can take it yourself. You can purchase mock-ups off a site like Etsy. And then you can take the artwork, whatever artwork that is, whether that is something in Cricut Design Space under the Angel policy or something you purchase for commercial use. And you can put that on the shirt using a program like Canva is a good one. It's free. It's an online program. You can lay them over the top of one another. And it looks like the image or the artwork is on the shirt and been applied by you, but it hasn't. Then you export that, use that as the image in your sales page, wherever you put that. And then once you sell it, you can make the right size for the person. That way you don't have to make tons of stock and inventory of all these custom designs. Because to me, the whole thing about buying handmade is if I want something custom. So if I just wanted a shirt that said a phrase, I may not come to you. But if I want a shirt that says a phrase in a certain color, I might come to you. I want to add a name, I would come to you. I want to add a monogram, I would come to you. So think about things you can personalize, but you don't want to make that personalized item and then toss it in the trash or whatever. Make tons of them that you can't sell to make your pictures for your shop. So mock-ups are the way to do that. So that's kind of a little tip hidden in this video that you don't have to make all that inventory just to make your pictures for your shop. All right, so let's talk legal for a minute because I feel like this folds into pricing and what you're gonna charge. So legal, you need to look into the regulations for wherever you live. A lot of the legal aspects vary from state to state or location to location. So you need to look into if you need a business license or not. If you need to charge sales tax would be another thing. And the other thing I definitely want you to think about is self-employment tax. Trust me, they're not cheap. And you will need to set aside, I set aside like 40% of what I make for taxes at the end of the year, just in case I need them. Sometimes I don't need it all, but sometimes you do. So be sure to set aside that amount as well. So you have to think about that when you're thinking about the money you need to operate your business, that every dollar you make, you're gonna have to set part of that aside to pay for taxes at the end of the year. You can also pay like quarterly taxes, but I would definitely, once you get into this and you find it is gonna be a viable business, I would talk to an accountant. Set your money aside in the meantime, but once you see that it's going to be viable, you are going to make money, I would definitely talk to an accountant about the rules in your state, blah, 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 and they can give you a better idea of how much you're going to owe and how much you should keep aside for that. So now we probably have everything we need to talk pricing, right? So we know what we're going to pay for the designs because we talked about whether we're going to buy commercial licenses. The Cricut Angel policy, you would probably need like an Access subscription, so you want to subscribe to Cricut Access to get all those files under your Access subscription. However you're going to get those files, you have them now and you know how much they're going to cost. Now, pricing. So we need to know next the price of our material. So we're selling the shirt, so how much does the shirt cost? How much does the vinyl cost? The first thing I want to encourage you to do is make sure you make quality product. That will definitely set you apart in the marketplace and make for a happier customer that's going to return. So try all of the products yourself, make sure they're quality, make sure you are putting that quality product out into the market. I would say definitely look for buying shirts, whatever it is, in bulk and seeing if you can get a volume discount, vinyl in bulk, that type of thing. I do have a comparison where I tested like 3 different brands of HTV on a shirt, and I'm going to drop that below as well, and you can look and see which one won and maybe use that for your shirt. But it definitely kind of opened my eyes to the quality of the vinyl I was using, and if you wanted to do something similar to that, you definitely could. So whatever brands you're wanting to use, put them on a shirt using your method, run those shirts through the laundry at your own home and see which one lasts the longest, and then you know what kind of quality you're putting out into the market. So you have your supply list. So when you're talking about pricing, you need to think about your materials, your labor that you're going to put into it, and how much you want to make an hour, and then your overhead. What is overhead? Overhead is things like the lights in my room, the electricity I'm using, of course, things like my mats, my blades, things I need to run my business that most people don't think about. You are going to need all of those things to make your product. You're going to need to ship the product, whatever that is. So you're going to need shipping containers, shipping boxes, bubble wrap, tissue paper, whatever that is, you're going to need it. So I would definitely think about the way you're going to package your product, price all those items as well. That goes into your materials portion of whatever you charge. And then after you get all of those expenses, you have to add a little profit for yourself too, right? So you want to get paid for your labor, but you also want to get a little bit of extra money too. And I would encourage you not to undersell yourself. So something you need to think about, don't compare yourself to all the other people on the market. You're going to set yourself apart by being unique, but if you try to beat everyone's price, eventually you'll be charging zero. And people look at pricing, I feel like, as a reflection of quality, and you are going to be putting out the best quality that you can and this super unique look that sets you apart from everyone else. So you need to charge accordingly for that. And then when we're talking about shipping, you need to figure out how you're going to include that in your price. So a lot of times, like on Etsy, you can set like the weight and then it calculates a shipping fee to their location. Some people work the actual shipping cost into the price of the product and they offer free shipping, but it's actually in the price of the product. You just need to do what's right for you and your business. I will say, be careful with international shipping. If you're not doing where Etsy calculates it or whatever, international shipping can get super expensive. I was burned quite a few times when I was selling physical goods where the cost of shipping was more than I even made on the product. So I would lose money shipping that, but at that point I was committed to going ahead and doing that. So be careful with shipping. It can really bite you. Oh, trust me, it can really bite you. All right, so let's end this by talking about like marketing and growth. You are going to need to get your name out there. You're going to need to get people to see you. I feel like, first of all, we talked about being on a website like Etsy will get you in their search engine. Research SEO on Etsy. It's called search engine optimization. Be sure that your listings are optimized for SEO, and that will boost you up in the rankings of those searches. So you want to do that. You want to be sure to ask for like reviews if you're on a site like Etsy, because those can boost you up into the rankings. So you want to be sure to do that. When you get there and you're on your own site like I am with Shopify on my own website, you can add plugins that will do those reviews for you. But the same SEO rules apply. Like I'm trying to get in Google searches now instead of just Etsy searches. You can get in Google searches with Etsy, but you would be more likely to get an Etsy search basically. For Instagram, take an Instagram marketing course if you would like. You're looking at like hashtags. The rules change quite a bit with social media marketing. They could change almost weekly sometimes, just because like the algorithms change and that type of thing. So I would just kind of stay on top of that. The number one thing I can say is use some of your profit from your sales to invest back into your business. And that includes educating yourself on all these marketing principles. So running a business with your Cricut is not only just cutting the HTV and making the shirt, it is also all the other aspects. So the accounting, the social media marketing, an email marketing campaign. I would highly, highly recommend that you set up an email list, get people to sign up somehow, whether that is they can find out about your latest release or whatever. Those will be your top customers, I can guarantee it. They're always mine. Whoever's on my email list will buy first. So definitely say look into email marketing first, social media after that. Instagram is fairly good. TikTok marketing, I would definitely recommend that right now. super hot. Depending on when you're watching this video, if you're watching this video 3 years from now, it may not be. And Facebook would probably fall down way below on my list. So I would definitely say that look at each of those platforms and decide what's right for you and your business. Where are your customers at? What age range are they? What are they into right now? What are they watching on TikTok? Can you get them to come over to your account? Things like that will definitely help you grow your following and therefore grow your business. All right, so drop down to the description, click that show more. I will drop tons of links there. I will drop links to like basic tutorials I have for making a bunch of different things. And then I know you have questions, so drop down below, ask your questions. I might make this a series where we do several videos on this. So if your question's pretty in depth, it might inspire a future video. So drop down, ask your questions that you have. What questions did this spark in your mind? And maybe we'll follow up with a few different things and answer those in future videos. But if you liked this, if it helped you any, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. As I said, I might make this a series and you don't want to miss any of the videos on that or any of my other Cricut videos as well. So thank y'all so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.